Right, so good morning. Today I do a very short video on the PowerPoint presentation for OM Executive MBA, Westford University College. So one aspect of the assignment requires you to do a PowerPoint presentation, right? Nice. So in attempting or in doing the PowerPoint presentation, my first advice is this. Your first slide should give a very brief overview of the organization you are presenting on. Very brief, maybe one slide, all right? And then you move on to the main elements of the PowerPoint presentation. Maybe slide number 2, we'll talk about the process involved, maybe a production process involved in your company. Um, it may not be a production process. It might be another process if it's a service-oriented organization. All right. However, I did advise you all to try to use an organization that has a visible supply chain. All right. So if you choose Emirates Airlines, for example, they don't manufacture, but there's still a process involved in, say, acquiring raw materials or a process involved in getting passengers on board, that type of thing. So talk about it, all right? But there are many companies you can choose that are in manufacturing, like Toyota, Tesla, IKEA, etc., right? So talk about the process there, the steps in the manufacturing process. Just do some research, right? You can do a process map if you like, or you can just list several points, right, of the process involved. Next, the alignment of the performance objectives of the organization with the requirements of the market served. That's interesting, all right? So, for example, how is the performance objectives of the organization, let's say like speed, quality, managing cost, how is that helping the organization achieve its market targets or its market goals? Just you can give a couple examples, right? So in the case of Toyota, which I often use, one of Toyota's performance objectives or performance criteria, which I often call, is quality. Toyota is synonymous with quality, and over the years, quality has shifted Toyota to become a market leader in many segments, right? Market leader. They've sold number one cars time and time again, right? From the Toyota Corolla and even the Camry is one of the top cars, right? So that's just an example. So highlight or give an example where a particular performance criteria or performance objective um, aligns itself with the company's ability to meet its goals or meet a particular target. Testing 1 to 3. All right, and then we move into the final ones. Point number 3. Two operational challenges faced by your organization and their impact on productivity and workflow. Right. So organizational challenges might be a supply chain challenge. Nestle had a challenge during the peak of the pandemic. There was a shortage of raw materials. So you can talk about how that would have impacted productivity. Obviously, if there's a shortage of raw materials, then productivity may shut down temporarily. All right. And in terms of workflow, all right, the failure to invest in technology can impact workflow. All right. So if you don't invest in automation, for example, the workflow or the process flow of your business model may lag. All right. You will have bottlenecks and the customer will be waiting at the end, right? So in the case of Tesla, in addressing productivity issues and maybe workflow issues, they were able to ramp up production by investing in more technology and creating additional plants, right? Nice. Number 4, sorry, the supply chain network showing the various entities and tiers and any supply chain strategies followed by the organization that contribute to competitiveness. So, Starbucks might be a good example here. So, when you look at Starbucks, if you go on the internet, there's a diagram that illustrates the supply chain network of Starbucks. So you would see a processing plant here, a manufacturing hub here, a warehouse here, etc. Do the same for Tesla, Toyota, IKEA. Tell us where their manufacturing plant is, where their supplier is located, where they buy their raw materials, the wood, etc. That's the type of thing you'll be talking about, right? Basically, right? And followed by the organization and followed by the supply chain strategies that contribute to their success, their competitiveness. In the case of maybe in the case of Tesla, they have a plant out in China, and that plant is serving a purpose. I'm sure that plant is able to it affords Tesla the opportunity to ramp up production. All right, in that plant, they are actually building the cyber truck, right? That's a supply chain strategy, I would say. Tesla has also invested in lithium plants across the globe. There's one out in Australia, I believe. All right, so that is also a supply chain strategy. Remember, investing in or buying out a raw material provider can be seen as vertically backward integration. Testing one, two, three. And finally, the quality management practices in the organization that support the strategic objectives. All right. Toyota, they have a quality management program, and that has been responsible, I'm sure, for the position they are in today, right? To be ranking number one in some segments, I'm sure, still. All right, and still being seen as synonymous with quality, right? And of course, there are other examples. So tell us in terms of the company you would have chosen. Tell us about the quality management program or practices or philosophy, all right, and how this quality management initiative has influenced or has supported the company's strategic objective. So the strategic objective might be, for a particular company, might be to broaden or their market position, all right? And quality, for example, um, might be the ticket towards achieving that, right? So it might involve Kaizen, it might involve benchmarking, it might involve Six Sigma, etc. These are all quality tools. Ladies and gentlemen, testing one, two, three. I hope this video has helped you. All right. Thank you very much. Testing one, two, three. Out.